Soon enough, the SEC will drop their appeal, and a settlement will be reached. If that happens, XRP's spot ETF will likely open up, which is a huge positive. There's a lot of good news on the horizon. As XRP is a primary global cryptocurrency, real estate deals in Dubai are already happening using XRP. The time for XRP to shine is just around the corner. It's starting now, and this will be a huge milestone. Hi, I'm Changhoon Moon, author of Ripple Big Bang, and I am currently running the YouTube channel Time Leverage. Great to meet you again. So, what exactly is Ripple? Yes, people often confuse terms like XRP coin and Ripple coin when discussing crypto investments. However, before you invest in XRP, there are several key points you need to understand. Ripple is a company, a fintech firm specializing in cryptocurrency payments. Their headquarters are in San Francisco, USA. It's about location. Ripple is a startup company, and in 2012, it created a Layer 1 blockchain called XRP, also known as the Ripple Ledger or XRP Ledger. It's a decentralized public blockchain. For that, as a utility coin, the native coin used for transactions is the one we're currently investing in, XRP, also known as the Ripple coin. These are just different names to help you understand. And keep in mind when investing, what's the difference between Ripple and Bitcoin? Well, when you start investing in crypto, you'll probably come across Bitcoin first, then Ethereum, and coins like Ripple XRP, which are considered major altcoins. Each coin has its role, direction, and vision, so it's essential to understand that they're distinct. Bitcoin, for example, was the very first blockchain, launched in January 2009. It was released into the world in March. Currently, I believe it's more accurate to view it as just one type of financial asset or one asset class. Just as the U.S. Treasury has recognized it, online gold now. Digital gold is increasingly being positioned as a type of asset class. So, you can think of Bitcoin as a store of value. On the other hand, coins like XRP represent the essence of blockchain. If you look at Bitcoin's white paper, you will see that blockchain was created to send money from institution to institution or person to person without going through a central bank or server. XRP was explicitly made to do that. In short, XRP is a coin designed for international payments and remittances, basically to upgrade the existing SWIFT system. That's how I'd explain it. Why do you recommend investing in Ripple? Well, first of all, when investing in cryptocurrencies, first, I want to say that coming in expecting to hit the jackpot right away is a pretty risky approach. So especially when it comes to quick trades and betting on short positions, I'd suggest avoiding that if you can. When it comes to major cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, it is essential to understand their fundamentals and what these coins are all about before investing and gaining experience. The reason I've written about XRP and recommend it is that, whether you're investing in cryptocurrency or stocks, the primary goal is to increase your income. Currently, compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum, XRP is undervalued, making it a beautiful investment. What it means is that the price will go up. In fact, with Bitcoin and Ether, the spot ETFs fully launched last year. For XRP, the spot ETF is expected to launch sometime in the second half of this year, or at the latest, by the first half of next year. This suggests that institutional money will pour in heavily, so the price performance is expected to be pretty good. Another point to note is that, based on XRP's chart patterns, it has been building up energy for approximately 7.5 years, exhibiting a long-term triangle consolidation pattern. The lawsuit dragged on for about 4.5 years. However, Ripple has now dropped its appeal, and with the appeal process coming to a close, a settlement is likely to be reached soon. If that happens, it'll be clear that XRP is a commodity, not a security. That clarity will open the door for the spot ETF, bringing in lots of positive factors globally. It's a major coin, one we can realistically expect to have a spot ETF in the future. Of course, we should continue accumulating Bitcoin and Ethereum together, but I also think it's worth paying close attention to XRP. After doing some initial research, it might be a good idea to consider investing in it. Do you think Ripple is still undervalued? Yes, exactly. For XRP, there was a sharp rise about a month or two after Donald Trump took office last year. Back then, it was trading at roughly $4, and since then, it has been trading sideways. Recently, it rose to around $4.50 before dropping back to the low $3. However, when compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum, XRP still appears to be significantly undervalued. Looking at the previous and the cycle before that, examining historical patterns and price trends, Bitcoin and Ethereum have experienced significant leaps compared to 2017 and 2018. Back then, Bitcoin was valued at around $4,000, but now it sits comfortably in the $150,000 range. That's a massive jump. Ethereum was in the low to mid 500 back then, but now it's well over 6,000. When you look at XRP, it reached $5 back in 2017 and 2018, but it still hasn't broken past that level. If you examine the chart over a long period, XRP has been undergoing a prolonged phase of energy buildup. It has been through numerous shakeouts with small investors, and with the lawsuits involving Ripple, it has had a tough time. Because of all this, some might feel that the bad news is already priced in for the short term. However, if you look at it long term, XRP has been held down for some time. The time for it to shine is coming soon. That's the gist. I think I can explain it. Is there an investment strategy for Ripple that you'd recommend to people who don't know much about cryptocurrency? Actually, not just for Ripple XRP, but if you're starting with crypto investing and you're a beginner, I want to share one strategy with you. It's called dollar cost averaging. You might have heard of it as splitting your purchases. It's similar to setting up a savings plan, where you put in, say, $100 to $200 each month, or when you contribute regularly to a housing subscription. You do the same with Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and so on, buying a little bit at regular intervals. It could be once a month, and the shorter the interval, the better, like every 2 weeks, every week, or even every day. I buy a small amount of XRP every day, focusing on accumulating a specific amount. Rather than stressing about the average price, focus on your target amount and invest in cycles like that. How about giving it a try? I suggest you start by gradually investing small amounts of your own money while getting to know the cryptocurrency market. Also, take the time to study the coin you choose, genuinely understand its intrinsic value and potential for future appreciation. Become a value investor in that sense. When should we stop accumulating Ripple? I believe the time for XRP to shine is just around the corner, but a significant milestone is expected to arrive around 2030. According to reports and fintech papers, stablecoins and CBDCs are expected to be mainstream by 2030. Additionally, there's a concept called RWA, real-world assets, where not only stocks but also real estate, cars, and even art will be tokenized and traded using coins. This kind of scene is expected to unfold within the next 5 years. If that happens, fractional investing, owning shares through coins, will become a reality. This will impact the entire banking system, including SWIFT. The whole market that uses it as a standard is growing. Looking at it that way, the utility value of XRP can be maximized to a great extent. So, while this year and next year are important, I think it makes sense to look toward the next cycle around 2030. You can gradually accumulate a certain amount of XRP according to your own goals and financial situation. Additionally, I would like to mention the Mohaloop Foundation. You know Bill Gates, the Microsoft guy, right? He and his ex-wife, Melinda Gates, started a charity foundation. They do donations and work toward global peace and financial inclusion. They've set 2030 as a guideline for this era of financial inclusion. While most people in developed countries have bank accounts, many in regions such as Africa, the Arab world, and other developing countries still don't. There are a lot of people left out of the financial system, right? The vision of this Mohaloop project is to create an era where everyone, including those who are currently excluded, can be included. They're working towards building a financial inclusivity and interoperability era by 2030, and they received significant investment from major players who typically hold considerable power. Recently, even Warren Buffett invested here, and not just him. The Rockefeller Foundation, a notable philanthropic organization, is also involved. Furthermore, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, Google's funds, and even the UN's funds are linked to the Mohaloop Foundation, as they aim to build an inclusive financial era by 2030. Mohaloop is utilizing Ripple's Interledger protocol technology and the Ripple network's payment mechanisms to make this vision a reality. Considering these moves and their goal for financial inclusivity in 2030, wouldn't it be smart for us to steadily and long-term accumulate XRP? That's something I wanted to share as well. Seems like it's happening. So, when the era of fractional investing with cryptocurrency comes, how can Ripple benefit? Well, fractional or equity investing is already well known in Dubai, part of the UAE's innovation city. In Dubai, they're already tokenizing real estate and making payments with cryptocurrencies like XRP and Bitcoin. Buying an entire big building is unrealistic for most people. The idea of splitting ownership into shares for fractional investing is already gaining traction. At this point, coins like XRP are well suited as a payment method, so they're likely to be adopted by many institutions. Dubai's Financial Services Authority has recognized this, and its land department fully accepts RLUSD, a stablecoin issued by Ripple. So right now, in Dubai, many real estate deals in Korea are currently being conducted using XRP. It's still early days, but eventually, when markets for real estate, stocks, bonds, or commodities open up, payment coins like XRP or XLM will get a lot more attention and become way more helpful. That's what I believe. If you were to advise people just getting into Ripple and the crypto market, I think it's the same, not just for XRP, but for Bitcoin and Ethereum too. Getting into crypto means you're jumping into a market with huge volatility. The market runs 247, so it's really about whether you can keep investing while still getting your sleep and staying sane. Many beginners and everyday people worry that crypto is too risky, with its crazy price swings. And then there's the whole Terra Luna fiasco led by Do Kwon, which has shaken a lot of trust. So many people still harbor quite negative thoughts about this. I get why that is, though. But I hope you all focus on major global coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. The crypto ecosystem is growing and evolving with the times, and the capacity is expanding. It's all about figuring out which coins will survive in the long run. That's what they call separating the wheat from the chaff. We're entering a new era of crypto bubbles, living through the fourth industrial revolution, where AI and blockchain converge. It's essential to thoroughly research which coins have genuine future value and potential before investing. That's the advice I want to share. And when the so-called altcoin season or bull run kicks off, even people who had no interest before will probably download apps like Coinbase, Gemini, Wealthsimple, Crypto.com, KuCoin and jump into the market. But during those crazy times, it's better for us too. You've got to be good at selling. When it feels like things are going up but then get dull, slow, and dragging on, that's the best time to invest. I want to remind you of that. So, if you're considering getting into crypto investing, remember that the market is small and highly volatile. If you're serious about jumping in, be sure to study and understand it thoroughly. That's all I wanted to say to you. Get rich smart, not hard way. Just invest $5,100 monthly instead of buying your Lotto. Let's get rich together. I lost my opportunity to buy Bitcoin when it was sitting at $100, so let's pump this XRP together.